rim of known space, justice is a long way away.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian. Usually joining us is our co-host, Spaz, but today he's a little under the weather. So, hope you feel better, Spaz. Joining us also is your co-host, Julie.
Hello from the great green first day green north.
Oh, really? Finally? Spring has finally sprung?
It's been winter, summer.
Yay.
But yes, now it's spring.
Your co-host, Thorsten?
Yeah, great weather here in Germany, by the way.
Oh, good.
Hello.
Your co-host, Jacob?
Right, arrived at a minute's notice, apparently. Good grief, my apologies.
No worries. And your co-host, David.
Hello.
So, friends, this week we have a topic show because I've reached out for some guests, but, nothing's been confirmed yet. So we still got irons in the fire in that regard. So we have a topic this week, and this topic was Julie's idea. Today we're going to talk about retro games. Now... I'm going to be honest, we're still kind of figuring out what that means. Because that could be anything, but
there's a lot of relativity there because retro just means old, and old, it means technically anything older than what, technically anything that exists is already old.
So it sounds like what we've talked about, at least to start with, are our first games for our first systems, whether it's a computer or a console. So,
good grief.
So, I'll go first because, my first console was Pong. I got Pong when I was like 4 years old. So I don't know if that counts because it's only the whole system was the game. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that counts because it's kind of by default. So what I was going to talk about was my first computer game. I can go with my first console game if we do another round. My first computer game, and I couldn't find a way to emulate it. I tried. My first computer was a Radio Shack TRS-80, the color computer, which was about the size of a hardcover book. It only ran on BASIC, and its keys were like chiclets, like pieces of gum, like little. It was a terrible keyboard, probably one of the worst keyboards I've ever used. But in 1983, that was amazing, And
back in the olden days, when the Soviet Union still existed and Top Gun wasn't even a thing.
No, this was 3 years before Top Gun, but my first game on the thing that I didn't program myself came on a cassette tape. You actually had to get a cassette tape drive, which looked like those old cassette players that play. It was a cassette player and a speaker built in and had the handle, those kind of rectangular things. It was a specific drive that connected to the TRS-80, and it had 5 games on it. And because I love spaceships and space, the first game I played was Lunar Lander, which I'm sure everybody knows.
I believe Asti knows the stream. On the stream?
That's the best version I could find in short, because I tried like 3 different TRS emulators. I couldn't get it to work. So I found a browser version of Lunar Lander that was, not exact to the TRS-80 version I played, but close enough. And I played the hell out of that thing because I don't know if y'all played Lunar Lander, but that game is both amazing and infuriating. So that was like the first computer game that really grabbed hold of my imagination was Lunar Lander because, the graphics were so, rudimentary back then. All you had was your imagination. So I would imagine like I'm on a rescue mission. I got to get these astronauts. I got to land just right so they can get on and I can get away, And so I would always imagine trying to save these astronauts. And even today, it is a challenging as hell game. And I've included a link. Hang on, let me see if I can post the link in the chat. Because I found, let me include a link to the browser version I found. because it's very easy to load and play. It plays in anything. That's the browser version I found, which I'll also include in the show notes for the podcast. And it was I spent like 10 minutes playing it and I wanted to throw my keyboard out the window real fast. Oh man, those old games,
brings back memories, doesn't it?
Oh god, those old games, they did not care at all about how you felt. These were really fuck your feelings games. They didn't give a shit. Excuse my language. But yeah, this was the first at least computer game that I played that really, really grabbed hold of me by the cojones. So, Julie, which game did you want to talk about first?
Well, my first game goes back, and here I'm really going to date myself. It's like, she's how old? My first game was before there was my first computer game, before there was an internet, when everybody was said, what in the heck is a Nintendo NES? I've never heard of it before. Back in the early 80s, back in college, I had 11 roommates, and
oh my God.
It was like a dorm situation, right? And it was it was named after this party that disappeared in the mountains. Oh, God, the cannibal party. They started to eat each other. Anyway, it was named after them. And one of my roommates was a computer science major, and this was, like I said, like 81, 82. So it was, and it was a mainframe computer where at the university I went to, and somebody had programmed a top-down space game, and it was these little characters. It was like white characters on an amber screen, and it was just like a little triangle, and your ship, and it shot out though. You press enter, and the little ship shot something out the front, and it was this. It wasn't massively multiplayer, but there were a lot of people who would come in the wee hours of the morning and play this, and it didn't have a game. It was just something that some computer science major had put together, and you'd have to come in, and when it was like no instructors were looking, and it was like, what are you all doing in here? Nothing, we're doing our homework. Aren't you a fine arts major? No, really, I'm a computer arts science major. So that was my first computer game, was a nameless space game that I can honestly say nobody else but me that's on this podcast has ever played. So that was it.
That's a shame that they didn't give it. It's a shame they didn't give it a name. It kind of sounds a little Space Warsy, but not.
Well,
the asteroids.
It was back in the day of amber screens and little ASCII characters and just beyond that, obviously. But, when nobody's supposed to be in there anyway doing this game, it was like, okay, here's the password. Don't get caught. So that was my first computer game, was on a university I won't say what university it is, but mainframe.
They're not going to come for you now, Julie.
University, yes, it was undergraduate school, and because my Facebook page said something different, just to kind of protect myself. I've had my identity stolen a couple of times. So
yikes! I'm sorry about that. All right, Thorsten, what do you got for your first retro game we could talk about today?
Okay, I've got to range out a bit now. I never owned any console. Never owned a PlayStation, and never owned an Atari VCS back then. But everyone else of my friends did. So the first game I've ever played was something like 1979. 1997. I mean, was a game of Pong on VCS. and we played the shit out of this simple game.
Wait, Pong on the VCS?
Yes.
We called that the 2600 over here for some reason. I don't know. No, I don't know why VCS didn't take off because they called it that. It was that on the box. It said that. It actually said, I think, both things on the box. They called it the Atari 2600 VCS. And
computer system.
Yes, exactly. And well remembered. And but yeah, for some reason overseas it seems that VCS took off, and over here 2600 took off.
Both.
Most people just say that Atari without any suffix or any particular name. It was the only thing available. But my first real computer was a C64, which I got in 1984, and the same year I got my first game on that, and that was Skyfox.
Oh,
and that one, I've got to be honest. That one did really influence my whole gaming career to this day. It was a simple action flight sim, science fiction flight sim, and I played the shit out of that one. I've watched a video a couple of months ago because I didn't really remember the gameplay after all those decades, but it immediately came back, and I'm still surprised how much it still holds up in some regard. And
wow!
Really, it influenced me really.
Wow! It came out. It looks like it came out for every system except the one I had back in the day. Like, I don't even know what a PC-88 is, honestly, but it came out for everything else but.
And now the PC-88 was a Japanese computer system. We had some in Europe, but they never took flight outside of Japan. Same like the MSX, which was an interesting thing. But back to Skyfox, you basically play a combination of an A10 and the Firefox plane from the novel and the movie, and it's like both planes had a baby, and you end up defending a planet.
May I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. More of that, please.
I mean, this looks great. It looks a little Star Raiders-y too, because you have a tactical display to tell you where to go.
There was a lot of gameplay to it, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks pretty great. It looks like, I mean, it's got only 15 missions, but you can play those missions at a variety of difficulty levels. It looks like, and I wish this made it to the PC back in the day. I would have played this. Damn it!
So the missions were more like mini campaigns. To be honest, you could do a lot. A lot of things could happen during one in apostrophes missions, and I still have fond memories of this game to this day.
This looks great. This honestly looks great. I would have played the crap out of this back in the day had it come out.
I did.
Oh man.
I love. Is that the box art that's on that picture? I love the artwork. It looks like it's a Marvel comic.
Yeah, it's like a comic.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of the movie Heavy Metal a little bit.
Yeah, you had a lot of this art style back then, especially in the years 1984, 1985.
Back when Electronic Arts actually meant something.
I was about to say.
Oh yes, they really made great games back then.
Oh yeah, oh god, yeah, absolutely, man.
Or better publish them. That would be my first pick.
Great, Jacob. What about you?
Right. So, are we asking retro games in general, or just the first game I played? Because the first game I played.
I think we're on first computer games right now.
Okay, so first computer game I played. Well, I will. All of you brace your spines because your lower back is about to break in half.
Oh no!
Because the first game I remember playing on PC rather than like watching someone else like play it. Was a little title released in the year of our Lord 2003, Homeworld 2.
Oh wow, that was yours.
Wow.
Wow. What a place to start.
Yeah. So if any of you in the audience are wondering how did I get here, I started off strong.
Yeah, it's true.
Started off with Homeworld 2, and then later on with Descent Free Space.
Wow, you started really freaking strong. Like,
oh wow,
some of the legends of the genre right there. Oh my god.
You merely adopted this. I was born in it, molded by it. I haven't seen the ground till I was already a man.
oh my god.
Damn. That is honestly, that's a great place to start. God damn. If
You've been spoiled for the rest of your life with those two games.
Man, yeah, with all the mods and everything, especially like people, you could still play Descent Free Space today in the Free Space to Open engine if you wanted to.
Yes. Now I do still play both to and occasionally hop onto the remastered Homeworlds and play with the mods there. Both the remastered, the original ones, because they're a brilliant game.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I didn't start with like some Pong clone or something that, like, all due respect, was like played by six people on a
19-inch CRT. No, not even 19
CRT. I know what a CRT is still. I'll give myself that. But it starts off with some leviathans of the genre. However, I would like to mention when it comes to retro games, because of certain circumstances in my life led me to getting into much older games. Simple reason. One of these days, when I was in middle school, my decided, you know what, dear Jacob, we're gonna teach you how to manage your money. And by that we mean we're still gonna buy you stuff, no worries. And if you really want a present, we'll get you a present. But every month, you're gonna get the equivalent of about, at the time, $50-ish. Wow. And you can spend it on stuff. We'll set you up like a secondary bank account. You can do whatever. You can save up for later, or you can buy stuff. So me, at the time in middle and late school, was stuck with, per month, less the price of play game nowadays. So I had to make. Admittedly, part of the reason why I never really bothered with AAA games, because the price point is not appealing. But because of that, my primary source, finding, at the time, indie games weren't like as big and huge and popular as they are now. Of course, they still existed. But what did happen was there was a lot of old stuff, a lot of older games on both Steam and especially on GOG.com, which were just sitting there, $5 a pop. Just buy them by the literal dozen. And I went, don't mind if I do. Thank you very much. Which is how I've acquired, first of all, the entire XCOM series. All of it. Own every single XCOM game that has ever come out, including the bad ones.
The Bureau.
Mostly it's mostly Enforcer. The Bureau is okay. XCOM Enforcer was the one that was
oh god,
all of like 6 minutes of it, and I went no, I just like got it just so I say I have all the XCOM games.
I'm still sad. I'm still sad about Interceptor. It could have been so much better than it ended up being.
Yeah, I still liked it. I enjoyed Interceptor.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
When I realized it works better, for some reason they just clobbered up the flight controls, mouse and keyboard is actually. But regardless, I got a whole bunch of other stuff. I got the Privateer games. I got some of the Wing Commander games. I got what else? I'm just scrolling through my GOG.
It's just wonderful that because we're all different ages here, but you're clearly our youngest co-host, and it's just wonderful that you have access to these older games. You know,
Yeah.
It's just
I didn't have to like down any suspicious CDs.
oh god, yeah, you didn't have to.
Sometimes
You didn't have to get an ISO and mount it and
Oh,
and all that gray legal nonsense called abandonware. You didn't have to do that, thankfully, because you can actually buy a lot of these things.
just pay a $5 with the GOG and the game's yours.
I mean, I wish more retro games were available to purchase. Like, God, can you imagine if
Absolutely.
God, I would buy Klingon Academy twice,
Yeah,
3
why
times
is
over.
Klingon Academy still nowhere.
It's got to
just-
be a licensing issue. It's got to be a
It
weird.
has to be because all the other, even like Starfleet Academy is just on GOG. You can get it.
Yeah, why would you want to? But you
All
could.
you could. Not true, but you could. All the other Star Trek games perfectly available to play. Klingon Academy, the absolute legend of a game that is Klingon Academy, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, it's
The best of them all. And I
yeah.
don't get it.
In my opinion, it's the best Star Trek game, and for some reason, you can't buy it. I wonder if it's a thing with one of the actors, you know, or something. Like, there's got to be some kind of weird licensing hell it's stuck in. I don't freaking get it. I don't. All right. That's a strong first game right there, Jacob. My God. David, what do you got as your first? I guess we'll stick with computer game.
first of all, I just gotta ask Jacob here. Is something wrong with your mic or something like that? You're cutting it out and in a little bit.
Yeah, you are cutting out a
You're
bit.
having-
Yeah.
Just checking before anything else.
I don't know
Go
if
to the other room and fiddle with it.
okay. I don't know if it's because if it's a voice activation thing or what, but you're kind of it's like a bad cell connection.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess it's a Discord thing, to be honest.
It might be a Discord thing. It might be a Discord thing. It's
Sounds a lot like the problems I had last week.
oh really? God, I wish we weren't such a slave to Discord, but it really is the easiest of these things to use. You know, all the other ones, it's the easiest one to use. So
I've returned. I've attempted to refiddle with it. Hope it works better.
oh, that does sound
All
better.
right, all right.
Actually, that actually does sound better. All right. So David, what do you got?
All right. So a little bit of story time. So in '93, a little baby David. Well, I guess I was 6 years old, so I wasn't really a baby. But yeah, I'd say that. Dumb, young, didn't understand English, anything. So yeah. How can I approach this? I talked to Forsten here before about this. So we had a Nintendo Entertainment System here at home, Super Mario, Duck Hunt, and whatever. But none of those actually melded with me. We didn't have a Super Nintendo at the time. I would never had one. So I then stumbled into my older brothers. I had 2 older brothers playing a certain game on our parents' computer. They were playing Doom.
Wait. Doom?
So,
D-U-N-E or D-O-O-M? Doom.
D-O-O-M. Doom.
Doom.
The
We're
genre-
doomed.
They sound
The
Dune and
the
Doom.
software.
They Doom and Dune. They sound so like I always like. Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
Doom. Wow.
Yeah.
Don't
so
you just
Doom.
love the English language?
No,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't. It's my only language.
No,
and I'm
we're not playing Dune 2. No, I wish I were.
Also a great game.
also
yeah,
a great
exactly.
game.
So my brothers were very scared of seeing the little brother walking in. Oh, what's this? This looks cool. So they were really quick to quit the game and just shut down the computer.
Oh,
try
no.
to. Oh no, they were just not supposed to play this. Oh no.
I was the older brother in that situation, so I know how that feels.
Oh no. Yeah, you don't want
So,
you don't want a 6-year-old walking in on Doom. That's a good that I kind of got to give props to your brothers on that one. That's because I love Doom. Don't get me wrong, but I was 20 when it came out, so I was the target audience of that game. But for a 6-year-old, yeah, I wouldn't show a 6-year-old Doom. No, I wouldn't.
So guess what happens afterward?
You found a way to load it up yourself?
Hell yeah. Finding out how those commands work and all that stuff. So I start up the game myself, and then they start hearing all those bangs and shoots and
Oh no!
monster screams. And then run in. Oh no, you're not supposed to play this. Too late. I've been corrupted.
That's great.
I'm dying.
That is
I'm
great. Well done, 6-year-old David. Well done.
So we have one person born in spaces. We have one person born to kill demons. Bloody hell! What a lineup!
Oh man.
And yeah, I freaking love Doom. Yeah, it was an amazing time, I gotta say.
God, have you tried have you stumbled onto the current? I'm going to do a tangent. I know I'm going to do a tangent here. Have you stumbled onto the current WAD communities? Like people making
Actually,
all these.
no.
Oh my
I've
God!
seen some of them on YouTube though.
Sir,
Like
there are so
and
many.
whatever.
There are not only people making amazing WADs for Doom 1 and 2 right now that you can just download for free, and they're all amazing. There are like these level generators that can create whole multi-level campaigns for Doom, and it generates a WAD file that you just drag onto the modded Doom file. And
That's amazing.
there's so, if you're into Doom, I could send you some links. There are so many amazing mods going on like right now. People are making them, and some of them are still like being sold as games. Like what was the one that just came out? Suffice? Is that the one I'm thinking?
Suffice, maybe.
God, what? It just came out. It just Supplice? Supplice? What the God, I can't remember the name of it. Hang on, I can figure it out.
I'll get it.
It just came out. That was apparently a WAD someone made. A WAD is a Doom. Supplice.
Right?
Supplice. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes.
That was originally a free like WAD that someone's made into a commercial product. That is apparently really good. And
It's. I mean,
I bought it.
What it is practically is it's a first person shooter on the Doom engine rather than a Doom mod. But still.
Yeah. But there are also all these free ones you can just get that people are making, and they're amazing. And so if you love Doom, I could point, I'll after the show, I'll point you to some links. I have to dig them up, but oh my God, there's so much good Doom stuff out there. If you if you just want to load up a level of Doom and see what people are making even today in the Doom and Doom 2 engine, like it's astounding what people are making.
Yeah. Also, if I may throw out another thing here about Doom, in my later years, I actually read up on the game that it was supposed to be something bigger than just a first-person shooter. It became, maybe for the better, because they actually, from what I read on the web, they actually tried to make like an RPG or something like that. They had NPCs to buy equipment from and all that stuff on Mars in Doom as we know it. But yeah, they scale it down to a first-person shooter that we know of today.
Something similar did actually come out. If you mean like an RPG on the Doom engine, we had actually a few of those.
Yeah, there were a couple of those, and they were Shadowbringer, something like that. God, what were they called? I know what you're talking about, Jacob. I just can't remember the names.
There were like a few.
Yeah, and they weren't bad, if I recall.
Was it Heretic?
Heretic was a little more of RPG, but not like that was still more a first person shooter than an RPG. But there were some. Oh God, we'll have to talk about this later.
I
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it had elements of an.
Oh yes,
Strife.
Right.
Strife was
familiar.
Strife definitely skirted the line between RPG and. Yeah, Strife definitely skirted more of the RPG line than the first-person shooter line. That was definitely more in the middle. And then that was really good, too. Strife was really good, yeah. That's a good one. But I think there were a couple others that I can't remember. Oh, God. But I know what you're talking about. Yes. But I think they did the right thing by scaling it down to a purely distilled violence fest that it ended up being. Oh, man. All right, so we've spent half the show talking about our first computer games. Now I guess we'll talk about our first console games. Well, Thorsten, you can figure something out for you, Thorsten, because you didn't have a console. But I guess
a lot of options.
But I guess also we can talk about, like, even if you didn't own a console, we can talk about consoles maybe you played at a friend's house. We could talk about that too. That would probably count. That would be your first console.
Absolutely no problem, Brian.
Yeah, that would be
Absolutely
your
no
first
problem.
console game, even if you didn't own it. So my first console game, I'm not going to go with Pong because that's too easy. Because that was the whole machine. Like I don't feel like that counted, you know. So I'm going to say my first console game was the game that came with the Vectrex. Does anyone remember the Vectrex?
Of course, yes.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat here. The Vectrex was they call it the first portable console because it was a CRT with a controller plugged into it, basically. It was a tiny little CRT. It was like 9-10 inches or something. It was so small. But the thing weighed 1,000,000 pounds and it was only black and white. If you wanted color, they had these plastic overlays you would put on the thing to give you a little bit of color. It was purely black and white, but it came with a game built into it. It was an Asteroid clone called Mindstorm that I played the ever-loving hell out of because I think it had a few features that Asteroids didn't. But it was built into the damn thing, and it was... I think it had some more asteroid types and whatnot than Asteroids did. I think that was the thing about one of the things about it. But my God, I played my uncle my uncle also owned a Vectrex back at the day, and we had competitions. We'd like send each other photos of our high score. Like we would mail each other photos. We would take a picture with a camera, develop the film, and then mail each other pictures of our high score. That's how we did a quote unquote screenshot back in 1981 and 82. But yeah, Mindstorm, 2 words. Here's a link to it in the chat. And yeah, that was, I guess, my first like traditional console game. If you think about a console as a thing that could play multiple games via cartridges or discs or whatever. I hesitate to call Pong a console because that's all it played. So when I think of a console, I think of a thing that plays multiple things via like a cartridge. And so Mindstorm, I would consider my first console game. And my God, I played the and the Vectrex was also a great system. It had a Star Trek game on it. That was really fun. It was basically shooting Klingons in first person mode. I think it was like Star Trek Motion Picture, the game or some nonsense. But and like there was a game that actually had voice. Like I don't know how they did it, but they actually got rudimentary voice in one or two of the games. Which was in 1981 and 2. That was like mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. So yeah, I will say Mindstorm was probably my first, and I sold that thing back in the 90s for $200, and I still regret it to this day. Like I still regret selling the damn thing because that was a lovely little machine. It really was.
What we really should mention about the Vectrex was that it was entirely vector graphics based.
Entirely.
And I'm totally fascinated to this day, despite all the simplicity of the games on this thing. But it's still very, very fascinating to me, and I would literally hack my left arm off and to buy one if I could get one for a reasonable price.
Eh? Oh, sorry.
I guess something happened here in the background.
Did we lose our audio?
I don't know. Seems everybody's here, but Brian.
Brian, hello.
Oh, that's weird. That's my fault. Sorry. What happened? So, what was the last thing you guys heard? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard that I said?
You were talking about your games, but I don't remember what
Okay.
the very last thing was.
Okay, so I think as I was gesturing because I gesture when I talk, I think I accidentally tapped the mute on my microphone because all you need to do is touch it. And I didn't notice. So I apologize. I was talking about how I sold a Vectrex in the 90s, how I still miss it. How it had some great games like Star Trek games.
We heard that.
Okay. And it sadly, I don't know why. I think it came out earlier than 1982 because I think I got it in like 80. I don't know why it's saying 82 on Wikipedia, but I remember that it along with a lot of other systems were killed by the video game crash of 1983 and 84. So it's a shame because it was such a great system and I still regret selling it. But yeah, Mindstorm was my first console game. If you look at a console as a thing that could play multiple cartridges. So that's how I'm considering it. So yeah, that's mine. Julie, do you have a first console game?
Yes, I do. And I went out and all at once I bought the NES, the PlayStation, and the Dreamcast. But the one I played the most was on PlayStation before they had numbers. And I will just copy a picture here, and that is the Gran Turismo from PlayStation.
Ooh.
And I grew up when cars all had V8s, and the average engine was measured in hundreds of horsepower.
Yeah.
My first car was a Galaxy with a 500 with a 357 Windsor in it, and gasoline was 31 cents a gallon. And so, my granddad owned a gas station, and one of his customers came up to him once and said, "Oh, the guys across the street is a penny cheaper because he's 30 and you're 31 cents a gallon." And my granddad said, "One day it'll be $1.50 a gallon and you'll be screaming for this price." Little did he know. So I grew up in the era of muscle cars, and when all is said and done, I won't get into it, but I'm probably lucky to be alive or not doing 5 to 10 someplace, consider my high school years. So I bought a PlayStation, and I bought Gran Turismo because it had access to all the cars I dreamed about when I was growing up. And, now my car's a little four-banger, and I love it. But I played this every Sunday. The roomie I had was like, "Okay, I got to pick you up after you're done with work in the afternoon." So every Sunday I played everything except there was a race on here that was like 8 hours long, and that's where I drew the line. And it was one that was like 4 hours long.
Wait,
but I
what?
played everything. Yeah, there was a race on here that just would take all day to finish.
Oh my God.
And there was one that would take several hours, and I did finish that one. But I played this one till the virtual wheels fell off, and that was one of my first console games.
Wow.
Gran Turismo.
I know a lot of people who still consider that the best of the series, the first one. Yeah, I know a lot of people.
I really like the second one.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who love Gran Turismo. I've actually never played a Gran Turismo game.
I have.
Oh, wow. I might be the only one here then. It seems a little daunting for me. I'm more of an arcade racer type of guy. So they've always seemed a little daunting to me. But
well, I'd put it on the TV, and I've got my little handheld controller, and I'm one of these people that would like lean when the car goes around the corner, lean the other way because I get really involved in it. But it was a lot of fun.
yeah, like I said, I know so many have a lot of love for that game. And the series, like period, like people love that series. Oh, right. Thorsten, so you didn't but you played consoles on your friends, with your friends. So we'll use that. You just posted in the chat. Oh, shit. I love that game. River Raid, y'all. Oh, shit.
Oh, that's a good
Oh,
one.
man.
We played the shit out of this game.
God, yes.
We played the
No.
shit out of this game, really.
God, that was a time. That was a time where everything Activision made for the Atari was freaking gold. Everything.
Yeah, Pitfall, River Raid, all those classics.
Oh my God.
It was the time when Activision was still great.
Oh my God. I love River. I love there were I think there were two of them, right? I think there were two River Raid games.
Yeah.
I think. Oh my God. I played the hell out of both of them. God damn. Oh man. Oh man. Oh,
It's still a good. This game still holds up today if you play it. That's amazing. Honestly.
Oh man.
You don't have many games that are still playable after 40 years or so. I really loved it, and every one of my friends loved it. And
No,
we spent whole afternoons with this game when we should do homework or such stuff.
No, I hear you, man. A lot of people love. I've talked to so many people over the years who just have. You bring up an Activision game for the 2600, and their eyes just go glaze over, and like, oh yeah,
Them's were the days.
Yep.
Yes.
I think I played so much. Remember Keystone Capers? Remember that one with you're the cop in the mall, and you're chasing. Oh my God. That might be that and Pitfall 1 and 2, I think were my most played Activision games for the 2600. But I played so much River Raid and Enduro. Remember Enduro? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Too, yes.
Oh.
But River Raid was real
Oh my God.
first love. Yeah.
So many good memories of River Raid. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh shit. Okay, Jacob, what do you got for your first console game?
The first console game, I was gonna ask if mobile consoles count, and then you brought up yours, so I guess they do.
Sure. Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, absolutely.
Back in the olden days of 2010, I had a Game Boy Advanced.
Ooh.
Which was real fancy piece of game.
Which one? The original or the SP?
It was the SP. It was the folding one.
Oh yeah, I still have one. I have a red one.
Nice.
I love it so much.
I lost it and was very happy that when I got my Nintendo DS, I could also play those games I already had.
Yes. Oh, that was such a brilliant move on their part. Oh my God.
Yes. It just had the slot in the bottom. You could just shove in the big cartridge. So, what the game that came with it, and the game that I played the most of it was a game that is seemingly kind of underappreciated. It was Yoshi's Island. It was the remake of Yoshi's Island for the Game Boy Advance, originally an SNES game. And I don't have much to say about it besides I played the hell out of it to completion multiple times, and it was tons of fun.
I never played that.
Even if it was really.
No, I never played that. I don't think I've ever played any of the Yoshi games. Come to think of it.
I'm honestly not surprised because for some reason that's the one that people didn't play much.
Well, it's a platformer, right? I'm not much for I'm not much for platformers, to be perfectly honest. But I know a lot of people love that one. God, that was such a great system too.
Yoshi games can still be played on Nintendo Switch if you want to go back and indulge yourself in a
Julie.
Hey, I gotta be honest.
I know Switch, but
I've got one.
No, I've got to be honest. It's weird what Nintendo's doing. Like they just shut down the e-stores for the 3DS and the Wii U. So a lot of games are getting lost because of that. But at the same time, they're bringing in all these old classic games for their Switch service. You got to pay for it. But they're adding more and more games to that all the time. So it's like they're shutting down all these old marketplaces, but they're kind of bringing these old games to Switch with what is it called, Julie? Do you remember what's called that service where you pay for it a year?
It's Nintendo Online, and
Thank you.
they bring back. It's like I used to play back in the day. I played this game called Pokemon Stadium. Growing up, and
Yes.
it was like I have long since lost track of it. And then here it is, popped up the other day. Said, "Oh, you can play Pokemon Stadium." And I said, "Wow, but you still can buy some of the old kind of games for your Switch." And I bought a few of those.
Yeah, thankfully they're making more games available to purchase too. But yeah, it's such a shame they're killing the stores. Because a lot of games are going to be lost. Forever.
Well, there was one guy who was and he was in the news just before they shut down the store. And this guy's got to have money. He spent $25,000 doing it.
Oh yeah, I saw that video.
Every game in the store.
They had to do it all with e-gift cards.
Yeah, and that's why I'm going to buy a 1 terabyte micro SD card for my Switch, so I don't run into that problem. Because eventually they're going to shut down this store.
Yeah, I'm so torn about Nintendo. Like they have such great systems and they make such great games, but then they do such player hostile things like shutting whole stores down. I'm so torn about Nintendo right now.
Like that guy that taught everybody how to hack their Switch, and he had to go to prison. He only had to do a few months of the years.
What?
Yeah, he taught everybody how to jailbreak their Switch, and so they could play pirated games. And the Nintendo Corporation came after him, and he ended up getting years in jail. He only had to do it. He just got out after doing a few months, but he still owes the Nintendo Corporation $25 million. So, yeah, I'm kind of torn between this, and it's like...
I mean, that isn't exactly legal. Let's be honest. That isn't exactly legal. But...
I ask myself, at some point, I have to draw the line between when am I hurting myself and when am I standing up for principles.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Because, I mean, I have a lot of Nintendo games. I mean, I have a lot of Nintendo systems. I have a Wii. I have a Game Boy Advance. I've got a Switch. I've got a 3DS. And there are a lot of wonderful games on those systems made by people who aren't Nintendo. So it's tough. It's really tough to be a Nintendo fan right now.
Yeah, my line gets drawn at Randy Pitchford and anything that has J.K. Rowling on it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, David, why don't we wrap up with your first console game?
So I'm very, very torn here because I was wondering if I can twist the rules a little bit here, maybe.
Explain.
Rules?
Explain.
What rules?
I don't know.
Rules.
For starters, we were supposed to be talking about retro games. This is just now a how did we get here episode? Like, how did we start on this accursed path to sitting on a podcast and talking about video games?
yeah. Because I kind of did talk about like early NES games, being my first console game, but I'm starting more to think about the first console game that left an impression on me. May
That's
I take
fine.
that instead?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of funny because we're circling back to something. Oh, okay. So once again, story time, I suppose.
Sure.
In elementary school, my best friend there at the time, his father was working on a company called, at the time, Egmont. They were once localizing and releasing games here in Sweden. So his father always came in with a lot of rare and cool games that were tested and rated and all that stuff before they were released to the public. So he had multiple of these promo discs and stuff. So when I came home to at one time, it was like, "Oh yeah, you gotta try out this game. It has a split screen multiplayer where you can face each other and build robots." I was like, "Yeah, I like Transformers." Oh, it's not Transformers. It's Armored Core. Wait, what's that?
Oh,
And
boy.
yes,
Wow.
yes.
Wow,
And
been
that
hooked
game
ever
left a
since,
huge impression on me. So yeah, I will never forget that moment when we sat there completely wasting away those summer days in front of PlayStation 1 playing Armored Core split screen multiplayer against each other. Yes, here we go.
I forgot to tell you guys, I played I think the first mission of, was it Armor Core 3 on the PSP here on my Vita. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit.
Delightful.
So I'm
It
definitely
gets better, and by
Oh.
better, I mean more
yeah.
insane.
Oh, that's good. That's
Oh, yeah.
good. Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. So I'm definitely going to be playing more as I have time.
So, but yeah,
Wow.
Armored Core. Yeah, when I played it, I didn't actually ever own it myself. I played it on a friend's place. And the actual first Armored Core game I personally owned was Armored Core 2 for the PlayStation.
So I
2,
can
but-
only imagine your reaction when they announced a new Armored Core game a few months
Yes,
ago.
yes, I completely freaking exploded in front of my computer when I saw the news.
I got to admit, they did a good job keeping a secret on that one. They did a really good job keeping a secret on that one.
Yeah, I'd say so. But the amount of like customization you could do, I guess that was at that point when I realized that I love customization in games. Like, oh, you can make a reverse-oriented mech, or you can make a freaking tank if you feel like. You can make a mech that flies like a freaking bird. It's up to you.
It has all has its benefits and downsides, and all will eventually end up beating the snot out of by the game,
Yes.
one way or another.
Target verified. Commencing hostilities.
Commencing hostilities.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, Nightball Seraph.
Oh, that's great. No, so I'd say this was a good show. We came up with some really good retro games for our first computer and console games. So sorry, go ahead.
No, just it was a fun show.
Yeah, it was a good idea for a topic, Julie. Very good idea for a topic.
Wrapping up quite nicely.
Yeah. So, friends, next week on the show, we're going to do a topic I came up with, talking about breaks from gaming, because I was thinking of taking a break from streaming this week, at some point last week, because I was so tired. And that got me thinking about, like, when have we taken a break? When have we taken breaks from games? Because I've also run into a lot of people online that are like, I don't enjoy games anymore. And I always tell them to take a break. You know, if you're not enjoying a thing, take a break from it. So we're going to talk about the breaks we've had and how breaks can be therapeutic. And sometimes if you're not getting joy out of a thing, it's okay to walk away from it for a while, or forever. If you don't feel like ever coming back to it, that's fine. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. And tomorrow is going to be the last entry of X4. Hopefully someone will finally pay me, is what I'm calling this series, because Jesus, I've done all these things for people for free, and I'm tired of it. Tired of it.
So I've got to say, it's a pretty amusing week so far.
Gotta pay.
Your pay is bringing the honor of the queendom to the rest of the galaxy.
I can't repair my ship with honor, Julie. They won't take the wharf won't take honor to repair my ship.
Oh, God.
That doesn't equate to credits. All right, so we're gonna do that tomorrow. I hope you all have a great day, everyone. Be safe, be well. Please take care of each other. Thank you, as always, to our patrons. And as always, thank you to those of our friends who have gotten vaccinated yet. If you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, I kind of tripped over my words there. If you haven't gotten vaccinated yet, please join the Vax Squad and join us in not going to the hospital if we get COVID. Because my God. With that, I hope you all have a great day, everyone, and we will see you back here tomorrow morning for some more X4. Hopefully they'll pay me for something.